You got me?
Yes, sir.
Loud and clear?
Yeah.
Okay. I'll start idling out and I'll talk to you. All right, we have arrived at the St. Lawrence River. Final Elite Series event of the year. So first day of practice. We got a shortened practice this week. We fished at Champlain this past weekend, and we actually got canceled the day there because of the weather, so we just get 2 days here. So, you know, you see the ramps packed here this morning. Everybody's going out to the lake. It just, you know, if you want to win, you're gonna have to fish at the lake. There's just more big fish out there, and that's my plan. So it's gonna be a workout this week on physically on the boat, mentally too. I mean, it's, you know, you're gonna have to get gas. There's sort of a lot to plan for, but main thing, number one thing today, find some fish. We're gonna go exploring today. I'm gonna show you just how a practice day goes. It's, you know, first light here, and we're gonna stay out till dark tonight and just try and cover as much water as we can and hopefully figure out how to catch some big smallmouths at this place. Drop shot. Okay, well, that's a good sign. There's about 4 or 5 of them down there. It's not a giant, but it's a nice one.
What kind of size do you think it's going to take to?
Well, I mean, you definitely don't want to be weighing any under 4 pounds out here. It's kind of the gold standard. That's probably about a 4 pounder close. Crazy, you know, you drop shot little Gamakatsu G-finesse, tiny little number 2 hook. But I had a little prototype Z-Man on there. I'll show you in a minute, but yeah, that's a good one. There was a little group of them there, so that's nice to see. That's what we want. You know, we're gonna have a pretty short amount of time to fish out here, so you know, I really got to try to find an area that has a number of fish. It's just so big out here. It's hard to, and you know, a little bit of wind, it just gets pretty tough to move around and be efficient. So, so that was good. A little bit of life there. So I'm gonna show you something here, kind of cool. So these are just some little guys I made, and we're working on, you know, the little dice baits are getting kind of popular for drop shotting. So that's a little TRD that I cut down, put some skirting material in it, and that's what I had on there on my drop shot rig. Something small, it's a little after dinner mint. You shake that thing in their face and they have a hard time turning it down. You can kind of always catch fish shallow and deep out here, and I like to fish shallow, but you start getting into August like this, and there's gonna be fish out deep as well. So it's pretty flat in general, but yeah, there's clusters of rocks out here, and that seems to be, you get around that and you got a little better shot at running into something. That's coming up to jump. There's a couple down there with them. That's just a baby. That's just a little Tickler Z Ned rig bait. Color's called Hot Snakes, and it's kind of, you can see a bit of chartreuse on there, green pumpkin top. For whatever reason out here, this has been ever since the last 5 or 6 years, we've been fishing the St. Lawrence, Lake Ontario. Catch a lot of fish on that little bait. Just a color that gets them fired up, and normally I'm pretty much just using green pumpkin natural colors, but for whatever reason, that one just gets their attention, and it's been a good one. I like to use a heavy head and just let it get to the bottom. I'm not really trying to get bites on the fall with it as much. I just want it to like go to the bottom, and I just start shaking it, get their attention. Hopefully they follow it down, and then you got a good chance of them biting it. But yeah, I'm making it act like a little goby down there for sure. Okay, well, we better keep her moving. There's a better one. They kind of take forever to reel in on these little hooks, but yeah, better. There's nowhere I've fished that these things are like built like they are here. So this thing doesn't look like it's that huge, but I bet you it's a 4-pounder. 390, so not quite, but pretty close. Nice one. Real pretty one. He was just sitting on a little bit of rock. Yeah, we're kind of close to where it sort of drops off a little bit.
See on that drop shot?
Yeah, that was on the drop shot, and that's the both nice ones have been on that little drop shot bait I made. So Z-Man's gonna work on we're gonna have one pretty soon, and it's gonna be a fish catching sucker. So you can see a nice boulder right here. That's where that fish came off of. When you get out on these flats, just stuff like that, just something different, a boulder like that is just a magnet for those fish to kind of hang around, you know. But yeah, it's gonna be a big drive to get out here in the tournament. We're gonna have to get gas twice, I figure. It's gonna be the longest drive I've ever made in an event, so it's pretty stressful, you know. It's gonna be, and then, you know, the weather can be is a big deal out here too. It's a big water, even the river's big water, so. You know, we fished the whole season to try to qualify for the Classic, and the top 40 in points make it. I'm in 45th going into this last tournament, so I've got to have a good event. You know, the goal for pretty much everybody is to make the Classic, and you know, I definitely don't want to miss it. So I probably need, I figure, a top 25, top 30, top 25 to make it. So I'm gonna have to catch them pretty good. I just got to keep moving. It's just a little bit of a different practice as far as like one here, one there is not good because it's gonna just eat too much time. So we want to try to find an area that has a good number of fish. We're gonna run all the way out here. I could catch what I've caught so far in the river, I think. Well, we're kind of into the mid-morning here now, so I'm getting up into an area where I've caught them before, and I'm looking around up shallow. I can see a little bit better and just something different. And I've actually pretty quickly here, I've run into some fish, and I've seen a couple big ones, but I'm on a bit of a community spot, and they're kind of, they seem to be a little bit tough to catch. One just followed me down right here, but most places, like in the sort of northern smallmouth belt, like the nicer the weather, the hotter, sunnier, slicker, the more you're gonna, you know, the more big ones will go up shallow. And it's sort of different from the south when it gets hot and stuff. A lot of the largemouths will actually go out deep, but these things like the heat. It's a short season up here, so they have no problem getting up shallow. I got a few right under us here now, but I just don't think they love being by the boat. They come and check it out. They're inquisitive, but they're hard to get to bite. Okay, let's keep her rolling. I'm not gonna worry about catching these ones just because I kind of just wanted to see that there was some here. We're on a big point, an obvious place, so I've got a few spots around here that are a little bit sneakier maybe, and we'll see if we can catch any on some of them. Go for a little move. I saw what I wanted to see as far as like numbers and getting, you know, enough casts at fish kind of for every few minutes, but they weren't the right ones. So I got to find the same thing, but where they're the right ones. They're the 4+ pounders. So, okay, so I'm sort of following out an extended point here and mostly looking for some rock. You know, you come to these lakes up north and look for smallmouths. You want to definitely be around some rock. So we got a bit of stuff over here, a little bit of a slaty edge. Looks like there's a few boulders along there, so I'm gonna have a little look around. Yeah, that's a proper one. Finally. Been a few fish out here, so this is good. We're just on a little bit of a little rock pile. where they kind of should be. Oh, just a blimp. That one's a 5-pounder. Look at that. They don't come any fatter than that, I promise you. Jeez, imagine that was in the tournament. That would be bad. I'm all twisted up, just a full, you know what? Oh, there, I just lost it too.
Oh, we got to see him.
Yeah, practice. Got to be more careful.
Anything different about this spot besides the fisher picker?
Well, it's just, no, I mean, it's textbook little, it's a little rock pile. So, I mean, where you'd expect to see some, you know, it's a little bit of a high spot, a little bit deeper, 24 feet. And, you know, they're not like stacked down there, but sort of every time I sort of pan it around, I'm getting, you know, I find one to kind of cast at. But as far as this, I'm on the drop shot. We got a drop shot specific rod here that I'm using, NRX Plus. But basically, most of my setups, I'm running 8-pound regular Power Pro. I got yellow line, you'll notice, on all my spinning rods. And I like yellow because I like to be able to see my line. Sometimes you'll get bites on the fall, and then also I know exactly when my bait hits the bottom. So if you're using something like a Ned rig, you know when you hit the bottom and you can kind of start your retrieve. It helps you get snagged a little bit less for sure. Obviously, like, tie a fluorocarbon leader on the end of it, FG knot, so the fish never see your line. Fluorocarbon is Shimano Mastiff, new fluorocarbon they came out with this past year, and it's good stuff. Just, you know, like the reels, real high quality Japanese line. A lot of the line, you know, you match up to your technique. And out here, the stuff you're dragging on the bottom, I don't like to, like with the Ned rigs and stuff, I don't like to use less than 8 just because it just gets to be too risky. You can't afford to break any off with all the zebra mussels and stuff. Drop shot's not so bad because your bait your hook stays up off the bottom. Especially, one of the beauty things, I'm using Elastec Z-Man baits on pretty much everything. And especially on the drop shot, you know, it's nice because that Elastec floats, so it keeps your bait up off the bottom, you know, kind of working like it should. And, you know, that's one of the advantages of it, aside from obviously the durability, but just the fact that it floats makes it's a unique property that the plastic has. And I use the minnow baits a lot on that Smeltnator head, and I think that those minnows just sit a lot more natural and horizontal in the water, and you know, caught thousands of fish on those baits. I've tried every jerk shad there is out there, and those Z-Man ones are the best, I think. Well, I've got an assortment of spinning rods out here, and obviously for the drop shot, I'm using 1 and 2 power, real light action, just because we're using such a small hook. On the Ned rigs and the minnows, I'm using a 2 powers, 7 foot, 7.2 or 7.3. And they're more of a medium action, whereas the drop shot, I'm going with the medium light, just because that if you use too heavy of a rod with those little tiny hooks, you're going to rip them out of the fish's mouth a lot more. Oh, that's a big one. Here he comes. Oh God. Oh man, it's like a 6-pounder. Man, they've all been on my little homemade bait. Look at this thing. Oh. We're about a 3-hour boat ride from Waddington here. But if there's a few of these around, then that's what you come here for. Oh, that's a big one. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. That's as big as they get right there, man. Wow. 6.5. Man, what a giant. That's awesome. Sweet. A little bit deeper, 22, 24 feet. So it's a good clue, you know, we'll sort of focus on some of this depth and some of this little bit deeper, farther out stuff here for a little while and see if we can find a few more places that that have them. But those last two are worth, you know, those are the ones you drive out here for. Yeah, not a bad one. Try not to drop any more in the lake. It's crazy how those little hooks get them. Yeah, probably like a 3 3/4. On the right track here, you know, we've covered a fair amount of ground, fished a bunch of stuff, didn't see really the right size fish, but we've gotten out on a big flat a little bit deeper and been catching some nice fish. So we found one zone that's like tournament worthy for sure. And that's kind of where we're at. So I'm gonna keep trying to look around out here and it's just sort of a little bit tedious. It's a big, huge flat, you know, between 24 and 22 and like 35 feet. I'm sort of looking around and hold them. Most of them have been around like a little bit of rock where you can maybe expect to go back and get them again. You know, drop shot's been the best for getting those big ones to bite. I did get one big one on the smeltnator and the minnow. A few on a Ned rig. Got quite a few on a Ned rig up shallow. Like I was getting good bites on it. They weren't the right, you know, I wasn't really around the right fish, but I typically like a Ned rig better than a drop shot just because it's efficient and, you know, use a heavy weight, you can get it down there quick. But I haven't caught a big one on it yet, but I think, you know, around some of these areas where those bigger fish were, I think if I started dragging it around, I'd be able to get bites on that too. Hang on here. Hi, wife. I'm in the middle of fighting one here.
How are you?
And you're on video.
Okay, well,
What's going on?
call through down here by where you were parked.
Oh yeah,
Seems to be working.
nice. Nice.
Big one?
It's 4 something, yeah. Well, nah, it's a nice one, not a giant. We're catching them all on the little homemade dice things, so you might have to make a bunch tomorrow during the day for me.
Yeah, well, you can report back to the video that I laughed in response.
Okay, have a good day.
Love you.
Love you.
Okay, you too, love. Bye.
Bye. Got to have the daily check-in with my wife Shelby. I'm lucky she travels with me for most of the season for the tournaments. We stay with Jason Christie and his wife Shanna, and the girls get along good, and makes it a lot easier because like we're on the road a lot, you know, throughout the season, and that part of it, like being gone from home and all the travel, like that part of it's not that glamorous. So it's awesome that she's able to come and you know, we eat good and we get to share the ups and downs, and you know, I feel pretty lucky for that. But part of the pro fishing lifestyle, quite a few of the guys, you know, their significant others are with them, and yeah, I can just tell you it makes life a lot easier because we're gone a lot. There's a goby. So yeah, that's what they're eating. And the reason why they're so great is they don't have a single spine or anything on them. They're just fully soft everywhere, and there's a million of them just crawling around. You use that aqua view, you see them scurrying around everywhere, but that's them right there. So green pumpkin kind of matches up the back of them pretty good. Still hunting, keep moving. We got a good little area there, so I'm gonna start working my way back and see what else I can find. We worked our way back towards the river a bit, and I mean, this just shows you what this lake is. Just a beast, man. It's about an 8-mile-an-hour wind, and you can hardly, it's hard to move around, you know, it's rough, and just big water. So glad I'm in my boat. It's a Lund 2075 Pro V Bass, sort of a good big water boat, 250 Pro XS on the back, 4-stroke. So that's gonna be nice for this big long ride. Get the Aquaview out here and look at a couple things. Once you get into the river, this thing is just the best tool, man. So we're gonna go out to the end of this bar and have a little look at a spot where I've caught a few. Well, you don't see a lot of the fish on the sonar out here on the river because they're tight to the bottom a lot. That camera gets their attention and gets them up. There's one. There's a big bass. See him? Yeah. So I'm just gonna back up a little bit and just do a drift over this place. This isn't a spot where I've caught a lot of them, but I caught a 7-pounder here last year, so I like it. That's a big one. There's a bunch too. The old Nedster. That's the kind we want to see right there. Oh yeah, baby. Look at that. Oh man, big bass. That's on the little football head, finesse football head, little Bugsy. Caught a bunch on that thing today too. Throw that on the scale. I think that's a 5-pounder, but it's close if not. 509. So that's the kind we want to see right there. Beautiful. Well, we've gotten into another area with the pretty decent number of fish here, and I've got quality around. Feels like a big one. Yeah, this is a big one. Oh yeah, it's a whopper.
Trade you?
Yep. Yep. Oh, that might be bigger than the other one. Look at that, it's unbelievable, that little hook. $5.84, so not quite, but man, Tankazilla. We can bounce. I'm good for today. Day one of practice at the St. Lawrence. You kind of got to see a little bit of everything today. We covered quite a bit of ground, saw some big water, a few big bass. So I'm gonna just try to expand on what I learned today, tomorrow, and hopefully figure out a game plan to have a good tournament here. I need, like I said earlier, I'm on the bubble to make the Classic. That's the biggest goal of the year. You know, never want to miss that. So as far as what we found, you know, I guess I caught more fish a little bit shallower than I sort of expected. In the past, I've really focused on that like 25 to 40 foot stuff, and that wasn't really that good. It was sort of, you know, out to about 25 and shallower was better. So that's kind of what I'm going to try to expand on, you know, tomorrow. But found a few good areas that had some big ones, and you know, a few of them around. So that was the goal. Just not being too spread out, you know, try to find a few zones that are good and just kind of hunker down, and hopefully you can pluck 5 of them and head back up the river.